friends.
Hi, friends.
We're back. It's episode 122 of the Brunch and Judge.
We're a little rusty.
We're still rusty, but new digs, new backdrop unlocked.
New backdrop unlocked.
So we are your hosts. I'm Aprile.
And I'm Claire.
And this week we are talking scariest shit ever.
Yes.
And Claire goes first this week. Claire.
Yeah.
What magical story have you brought us this week?
I'm going to be talking about stalking.
Oh, yes, that is actually terrifying. Why, yes, that is top 10 scariest shit ever. You're correct. Wow. Okay.
Just stalking. Sources are stalkingawareness.org, BuzzFeed, OJP.gov, which stands for Office of Justice Programs.
I was about to be like, is this some OJ Simpson thing? What's happening?
No.
Like, what a weird... Okay, sure.
No. And LA Times and Thought Catalog. But no, there was a show on CBS called Stalker several years ago. Had Maggie Q in it.
I think I remember that. Mm-hmm.
That was a show, like, you know, we live criminal minds around here, and even during the dark days, I really didn't like. There were only maybe a handful of episodes that I struggled to watch alone.
Mm-hmm.
The TV show Stalker. I struggled to watch that show alone in my house.
I think I only
on the rig
watched like one episode because I was like, nope, too close to home. Nope.
It was like I struggled. I liked the show, but I would have to wait until the next day, like, and find it during the daytime. Like, I struggled to watch it when it came on at night because it couldn't come on till like 9 or 10 o'clock,
which is the scariest time. When it's dark.
The worst. It's the worst time because that's never light. It's not like, you know, in the summertime where it's like, oh, it's like 7 o'clock and it's still light outside. No, it's never light outside. Yeah, that show like always had some new fears unlocked. Always watching that show. And then I don't know if you people out there have watched that show on Netflix called Baby Reindeer.
I haven't yet. I've heard from you that it's good.
Good and
terrifying.
Good in a sense of like, what the fuck am I watching?
Right.
Not good as in, oh, this is a sweet,
wholesome
TV show. Absolutely not. And the ending will
watch like wholesome things. We're not those people.
Right. And the ending will absolutely infuriate you.
Good.
But that show is also about stalking, and it was maddening watching it. And it's based on a true story. Like, the guy who stars in it, it's based on his real life. So I'm like, the fact that you were able to go and write this and star in it, like, damn. Anyway, but I mean, he changed things, but the basis of it is that he was stalked by this woman, and how things work out. It's just how they, and you know, and that's weird too, but men being stalked, you usually think of women being stalked, but men are also stalked. But how the police also treat him. Like, you think, oh, stalking is one of these crimes where it's hard to, like, whatever, but the police also treat him. Like, so it's one of those, like, in one vein, you're watching it, you're like, ha, how's it feel, motherfucker? Like, I'm sorry, I did. Like, how's it feel? How's it feel to have somebody look at you and be like, well, did you do this? Well, why did you do that? And I mean, you're like, oh my God. But in the same vein, you're still horrified that shit also happens to men. You're like, oh, that's also horrifying. But anyway.
Yes.
But that was why I was just, because I'd watched that recently, so it was like, wow. But yeah, stalking. I've never been stalked personally. I mean, in a sense of like semi being harassed on like social media,
right?
Because that does count, but not like in the sense of like somebody coming to my house. not like in that sense. But anyway, so stalking definition is a pattern of behavior directed at a specific person that would cause a reasonable person to fear for their safety or the safety of others or suffer substantial emotional distress. So, but two or more incidents can make a pattern. But that can vary from state to state
Of
because
course.
each state has their own laws
I hate
about
that.
stalking.
I mean, like, can't we just have a unified definition of things so that.
But then also there is a federal. So it's like each state have their own stalking laws, but then there is like federal stalking. Or I guess if you like
Cross state lines or whatever.
yeah, if you stalk across state lines, like people move and shit, then you get into like federal stalking. Or like I guess with the social media stalking, because that can happen, you know. Types of stalking include, but are not limited to, unwanted contact via phone calls, texts, social media, unwanted gifts, because a lot of stalking involves love bombing people, showing up, approaching a person or their family and friends and coworkers, monitoring or surveillance, property damage, and threats. Ugh. And I think that's one thing. It's like you don't really think about the monitoring or surveillance, and then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
When you start looking things up and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. Some of those things are actually crimes within themselves and don't actually are like exclusive to stalking, like obviously property damage and the surveillance, like videoing somebody without their knowledge, that can be a crime within itself and not be stalking. And the threatening somebody, you know, that could be like terroristic threatening, not necessarily stalking. But the others aren't, like the gifts, the phone calls, texts. Those are part of the pattern of behavior and can show like an escalation, like they start out small. And so if you think like, oh, this is starting, like document that shit.
Yeah.
You know, screenshots, pictures, you know, report it as soon as you can. Like the more times you report, that way you have
essentially the paper trail to be like, this is a repeated.
Yes, if they aren't doing anything, then you can be like, but I tried.
Yeah.
Here's where I tried, and this is where they failed me.
And it means that if the horrible thing happens, that you can sue, or your family can sue them for not doing their job, which isn't what you want, but
no, you don't ever want it to get that far. Even though a specific person is typically the target of stalking, the stalker can and will often contact victims, friends, families, and co-workers to get under the skin of said person, to get at that person for whatever reason, to have access to that person. Sometimes it's under the guise of, oh, I'm friends with this person, and they kind of do it to like even get the family to gaslight that person, to be like, oh, this person's not that bad. They're like, no, but this is not what I want, you know, that kind of thing. A famous stalking case, which I think I may have mentioned this before, I can't remember, was Rebecca Shaeffer. She was an actress in the 80s on that show My Sister Sam. And this guy named Robert Bardo just became fixated on her. She was in her 20s, he was 19. And he wrote a lot of letters to her fan club, whatever. And he would like put in John Lennon lyrics and, you know, that kind of thing. But I guess one time she responded, like, not just with a generic photo, whatever, but like with a personalized letter talking about how one of his letters was like one of the nicest letters she'd ever gotten.
Oh no.
And
he took that as, she's in love with me too.
Yeah, so that just like fueled that fire, you know. And most people didn't perceive his letters as anything dangerous. Even her dad, who apparently was a psychologist, just said that it was just another weird kid wanting to be noticed, you know, wanting somebody important to notice them. And so at one point, Bardo got a Greyhound bus ticket, and he lived in Tucson, Arizona. uh, caught it to the WB lot in Burbank, California, showed up with some flowers and a teddy bear to give to her, but the security guard got to him and wouldn't let him in. But he was like insisting on seeing her. But the guy took him back to his hotel room and was like, no. But again, that kind of shit happens all the time.
Right.
And it was like, no. This is just like, this is just, somebody trying to get at a celebrity, not a big deal. But then he became really upset when he saw her in some kind of love scene in a movie she was doing. And that's when things escalated in his brain. And so he hired a PI, paid this guy $250 to find out her address. And the guy got it from the DMV.
The PI knowingly gave a celebrity's information to some Joe Schmo?
Yeah. For $250. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah. And so he got another Greyhound bus back to LA and he took his gun that his brother got him. And on July 18th, 1989, he showed up at her house and he shot her in the chest when she opened her door and killed her.
Mm-hmm.
And that in California in 1990, that was when one of the first stalking laws went on the books as far as states were concerned. And I think it was because of that. That was one of the ones. Because that was a big one. That was a big one.
I mean, it's
as far as
terrifying.
Celebrities were concerned. Yeah. But celebrities are primed for stalkers because they're out there, their lives are public as much as they don't want them to be, but it's like with the news and the media and all that stuff, their lives are out there. So certain people think they have a right to have access to celebrities and have a piece of them. So just a lot of them have, but some other ones that pop up were like Taylor Swift has had several attempted break-ins, threats, restraining orders that she's put out on people. One guy broke into her house while she wasn't there and like slept in her bed.
Ew.
Yeah. But apparently she carries army grade bandages with her for knife and bullet wounds. Like that's how much the stalkers have. She's like enough bad things happen, you just want to be prepared.
It's like,
and I'm like, fair but also terrifying.
God.
Apparently Keira Knightley had a guy that would meow at her through her post slot in her door.
Meow.
He apparently like slid like a USB thing through there and it had like cat themed music, whatever that is. And would like listen to my music and stuff like that. But then he would start meowing at her. And apparently he got into a scuffle with her husband. And so he was put into like a facility. But she also was like, yeah, so we're going to move.
So we don't live here anymore.
Right. Yeah. And Sandra Bullock also had a stalker who broke into her house. And she hid in her closet and called 911. And it just happened to be a night when her nanny took her kid for the night because she was going to be out late. And she said, oh, I'll take your son. She said, I know you've got somewhere to be and you're not going to be home until really late. So I'll just take him for the night. And so she was just like, I lucked out big time that her kid was not home with her while that happened. But I was just like, holy shit. I mean, I know there's a lot of other celebrities out there. Who deal with stalking. But, and those are just weird instances because they don't know these people. I know these people think they know them. But, the majority of stalking cases are people that you know. And so 13.5 million people are stalked per year. And I feel like that's a ridiculous number.
That is, I mean, I don't understand the concept of someone doesn't like you, someone doesn't want to be around you, someone doesn't want you in their life. Why are you what is so broken that you think you can change that? Why would you even want to?
But 1 in 3 are women and 1 in 6 are men. Which I was like, that's still a high number for men. So
yeah.
But still twice as many are women.
Well, yes, obviously.
Right. Yeah. But it says most victims are stalked by someone they know. 40% of stalking victims are stalked by a current or former partner, which is like usually intimate partner. So it's IP.
I'm sorry. How can you're being stalked by your current partner?
Yes. And that is, and a lot of the stuff on that stalking awareness, that you can be stalked by a current partner or cohabitator or whatever. So I'm assuming by somebody who is keeping tabs on you constantly, shows up. I mean, like you cannot, like they're controlling. They're really controlling. 42% of people who are stalked by an acquaintance, somebody you sort of know. Majority of stalking victims are between the ages of 18 and 24. And almost half of victims have unwanted contact at least once a week. Usually more, but I'm just like, damn. And then this is like, of course, 1 in 8 victims will lose time at work, and more than half of victims will lose 5 days or more of work time. So it's like stalking is one of those that can like really hinder somebody's life.
Especially if you, like most people, work somewhere that the public has access to, that would come in and could stop by or...
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's gross. It's gross.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
And that's what it's just like, like, ew. And as far as stalkers are concerned, 2 out of 3 stalkers pursue at least once a week, most daily, using more than one method of stalking, which I'm sure nobody's surprised by that.
No.
Weapons are used to harm or threaten in 1 in 5 cases. So it's like usually
that's terrible.
Violence and stalking go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You know, it's like 20% of the time, I guess. So, but intimate partners are the most likely stalkers to approach, threaten, or harm their victims or their families. Which that doesn't surprise me either.
Not at all.
And then as far as like laws and stuff, well, I can go back to the intimate thing because I had 57% of those people were stalked during a relationship as far as intimate partners were concerned. Which I'm kind of like you. I was like, can be stalked during, but I was like, yeah, I guess you could.
I guess the thing that I'm reacting to is if my partner was doing that, if the person is in a relationship was doing that, I wouldn't be in a relationship anymore. Like I would be like, we're done. This is
unless it was one of those where you found out later that was like, oh, they were videoing me and I didn't know it. They had a tracker on me and I didn't know it. They had stuff on my phone. They, that kind of stuff. I mean, all that goes under stalking. And I guess they could do it in a way that if you didn't really know it at the time, you found out about it later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they were being stalked in their current relationship, but they didn't maybe know until after
that is possible.
Okay.
Yeah, that is possible.
I can follow that train of thought. Okay.
Yeah. But then also because of that, then it's like if they were like, say, like Spencer wouldn't do this, but just no. But say in your current relationship, you were going somewhere and you didn't get a chance to tell Spencer where you were going, but Spencer had put some kind of GPS on your car that you didn't know about, and he saw where you were, and then he just showed up. He's like, what are you doing here? Like that kind of controlling, like, why are you here? What business do you have here? And you're like, I'm just here to get a bagel. Calm down.
Well, but like,
or whatever.
But again, like if that happened in real life, I'd be like, and we're done. Like,
well, yeah,
crap.
I know.
I mean, obviously.
Right.
Spencer's great. But like, I don't know. That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, okay. All
but you're thinking like, say you were doing that, you like go places and then like Spencer would just automatically show up and you're like, how do you know?
Yeah.
I'm here. Like, we didn't have this discussion. I guess it's stuff like that too. Or if you put up secret cameras around your house.
Secret cameras.
Yeah. And is like videoing you, or put some kind of like tracking device on your phone and is able to like track all your keystrokes and see
so terrifying
everything that you Google. Like, there are things that, all of that is included within the stalking realm. So there are tech savvy people out there like that who can do that kind of thing without people knowing about it. And so this whole time you can be in a relationship and not even really realize that you are being stalked until, like, say something like that with the whole like them showing up all the time. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, you need to, and that's when you're like, you're smothering me. And then and I think that's how it happens. And then finally they're like, look, we need some space. Yeah. And then that's when things escalate too, because it's like 74% of those people stalked by former intimate partners or cohabitators reported violence or coercive controlling behavior during the relationship, which that doesn't surprise me.
Not at all.
At all. And then 81% of women stalked by former partners were also physically assaulted. And I'm just like, again, it's terrifying, but it also really doesn't surprise me.
I'm not surprised, but I hate that it's that high. I mean, that's 81%. Yeah. That's insane.
And then 31% of women who were stalked by former partners were sexually assaulted.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And so stalking increases the risk of the intimate partner homicide by 3 times.
Yeah.
So if you're being stalked by someone who you were in a relationship with, the increase of your homicide rate will go up 3 times than if it was just a normal stalking incident by like a stranger or just a random acquaintance that you were not in a relationship with. Which I'm just like, these numbers are really high.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. And it said intimate partner stalkers are more likely to use the widest range of tactics. They contact their victims more frequently. They assault their victims. They interfere with their victims' life. They threaten their victims with weapons. And they are more likely to follow through on those threats. They are more likely to assault third parties who try to get involved. And they are more likely to reoffend even after a court-ordered intervention or even after they like get out of jail because of the, going to jail for it in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, give it up, my dude.
Like, seriously.
Yeah. But, I mean, stalking is considered a crime in all 50 states, in the DC area, in U.S. territories, and federally.
Good.
However, fewer than 1/3 of states classify stalking as a felony in all circumstances, including first offense. So usually, like, first offense, it's like, meh, it's a misdemeanor.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, because on the one hand, I'm like, I think that there is a subset of people who are making some insane decisions and then having a criminal interaction, like where is enough to make them go, holy hell, this is I've lost it. I gotta do something.
Right.
But I think most people are just gonna keep doing it because you're a horrible asshole to start this. For someone to be like, leave me alone, and you're not leaving them alone, I don't think a misdemeanor is gonna make a damn difference. So.
Right. More than half the states classify stalking as a felony upon the second offense. So it's like,
okay, good.
Okay, you did it. But you did it again. You did it again? And you knew better this time.
It's like, we told you.
Or if it involves aggravating factors. Mm-hmm. And those factors include if you're stalking with a deadly weapon, violation of a court order / probation / parole, if it's a victim under the age of 16, or if it's the same victim of prior occasions. So if you're stalking the same person again, like we've had this discussion, mm-hmm.
We told you to leave them alone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that website, the stalkingawareness.org, you can go on and it has a map of the US. You can click on the states and it'll give you the states' laws on stalking.
How bad is Kentucky?
It was, it's legalese. But it was like the first offense is a misdemeanor. Mm-hmm. But it was just, I don't know. It just, it was meh.
I mean,
but I read somewhere that Kentucky was like one of the highest states for stalking.
One of the as in like we had the most stalkers?
Yeah. Oh, like shit. Cases, I guess. Yeah.
Oh shit. That's not good.
It was, and this came up like on my time hop. Like this was several years ago. So it had been on the news and I had posted, I'm like, oh great. We're like, I forgot what we were. We were like in the top 10 in the nation for like stalking cases.
Kentucky.
I was like, oh yeah, stalking and meth. We are winners. Let me tell you. Yes. Stalking and meth. Yes.
Let's see. So Kentucky, we have the bourbon, we have horse racing, we have stalking, and we have meth. So it's just a great place to be, man. Great place.
Right. But it was, and I had watched, I can't remember if it was Dateline or 48 Hours or one of those shows, but it was an episode on stalking. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about NCIS earlier before we started recording. The chick who plays Abby, she has a stalker. And in this episode, they were talking like she has a stalker. And it was this whole episode about people who have been stalked and how hard it is to prove that you're being stalked, how hard it is to prosecute a stalker, and how hard it is to get restraining orders on these people, like all over. I mean, it's not just it's hard to prove these things.
So the girl who plays Abby got
that
stalked?
Polly Perrette, or however you say her name.
Is that why they made that storyline where she had a stalker on the show?
I think so.
Wow.
I mean, it's been happening for a while.
Yeah.
She's but she's pretty open about it as far as like, she had one, and I don't know if it's still, but and that was another thing. It happened like usually with the intimate partners, those stalking cases happen for like 2 to 3 years, when most stalking, like with acquaintances or people you don't really know, or last about a year. But some can last up to like 5. And I'm just like, gosh. And 1 in 7 people will wind up moving because of stalking.
I mean,
like it gets that bad that they're just like, screw this, I have to move.
I mean, I had an ex who, I don't know, sort of cyber stalker more than anything, but like,
oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Obviously, I will not name names.
Right.
But like, I was so glad that that was when we left and we moved to California. Like it was in the midst of some of that, and I was really glad about it because I didn't have to worry about him. I mean, he obviously knew where I lived. He was one of those people who would come and bring random gifts.
Yeah.
So
wasn't it after you moved to California though that he sent you
the hate
that
about
hate
that? Yeah, but like
about I hope your cats get cancer and die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was a bunch of garbage. So fuck that guy. But I mean, like I still occasionally will see him trying to friend me on something. He's mostly stopped, which is not a story that matters. So
right.
But like I when it was first starting and I was in Kentucky and he was close because we lived close to each other. I remember being very paranoid about it because I was getting a lot of text messages and Facebook messages and trying to keep contact after I was like blocking him, and he would create new accounts and I was like, this is insane. This is insane.
And like, then you were getting all those messages and you were like, am I overreacting? And I'm like, no, I don't think you are. I was like, only unhinged people do this.
And so like I remember feeling that stuff.
And he was creating like fake. Remember, he was creating like fake profiles and friending you, and yeah, and that's when you're just like, I think this is him. And I was like,
I had to turn everything on to like must request to be friends, and like I blocked him on several places, and he would do this thing where he would send me something and then block me so that I couldn't block him.
You couldn't respond.
And I couldn't block that account. And then he would, unblock me and send more hate and then block me again.
Yeah.
And so like it's exhausting. And I probably, if I hadn't moved, I probably would have gotten to the point of moving. Like he was
right.
He was trying to ratchet things up, but thankfully it kind of ended with that. I left and he just started doing stuff with other people. So he doesn't live in Kentucky anymore either.
Thank God.
So
yay.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you just go do a quick Google search, there are plenty of non-celebrities out there who have their own horrifying stalking stories, and like most of them are the intimate partner kind. And even then, it's not even intimate partner. It's like they went on 2 dates and then it was like, okay, I'm not feeling it. One of them's like, I'm not feeling it. And the other one's like, but I love you.
Yeah. Like, we're meant and it's to like, be.
yeah. And you're like, oh God, no. Yeah. And a lot of them do not end well at all. So yeah, it's just no.
Now, my thought is, if you're in a situation where you feel uncomfortable and you can move, do it.
Yeah. And if you ever feel like, because that was one of the ones on that show, that Dateline 48 Hour show I watched, where they were talking specifically about the stalking, was this one woman was talking about how she was like, I think it was an ex. She was like, he was always where she was. She goes, I don't know how he did it. She goes, he was always, and she's like in random places too, like places like not even like my usual haunts, just whenever I, would show he was always there. And then she had a friend, I forgot what it was, like how they figured it out, but somebody helped her search and they found a GPS device in her car that he had planted like somewhere in her car, and that's how he was tracking her. And I'm just like, what in the, like that kind of bullshit, like that level of this is how I'm going to stalk you, is I'm going to plant something on your car and I'm going to track you that way. And I'm just going to show up where you are, like that level.
Get a fucking hobby. Like, my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, and that would be easy for somebody to plant, especially if you're like in a bigger city and you had street parking. Somebody could just come along and stick that like under the side of your bumper. I mean, that's not, or if you're out and about, like they see you at your job. Like
they know you go to, a specific gym class, so they know your car's going to be there. Like, I mean, it's literally that easy, which is terrifying.
Right. Ugh. It was just things like that where it was, ex-boyfriends showing up like that because they had done stuff like that, or, ex-husbands showing up in the middle of the night, and like one of them like threw a paint can through her window and like But they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything. I mean, it was like, they're like, we can't do anything about this. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, and it was just those kind of things that are really maddening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, so it is. It's like, if you ever feel like you might be going down that rabbit hole, like, document the shit out of stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, if you ever get phone calls, record them.
And make sure people know that this is happening. Like,
yeah, don't keep it to yourself.
Oh,
and report it as often as you can, because again, you don't want something terrible.
Yeah. Oh god, it's terrible.
And if you have to shut down all your social stuff. Like, I know people love social media, but
it's not worth it.
No. Because that's another way that they can get at you, is they start like tracking your social media and stalking, and even like through your parents or your siblings or your friends. Like, even if you shut yours down, they'll stalk the people around you too. So it's one of those, which I know it sucks, but it's just, especially in this day and age, because back in the day, stalking was just more straightforward. Like, I'm gonna follow you around and show up at your house. But now we have all these other fun ways in which to stalk people. Because you have like the whole cyberbullying and all that stuff. So, and all that falls under that. But anyway, that's my story on stalking. And I just think it's a little bit more terrifying, because it's like,
well, it always feels like when you hear a story, it's like there wasn't enough to really stop them. There wasn't anything to really keep them away until it's too late, until something bad has happened. And that's horrifying. It's like, you know, this is bad and you know that it's going to get worse, but everyone is like, well, until they do something, there's not a whole lot that they can do. Oh, it's awful.
Right.
Oh,
and the numbers, like the numbers that involve like the actual like following through, like the attempted homicide and the following through, were also staggering. And I'm just like, like, this is disheartening. This is terrible.
This is why we should all just be single cat ladies, right?
That's right.
Childless cat ladies.
Miserable childless cat ladies.
Miserable childless cat ladies.
Right.
Thank you, Claire. That was excellent, but also
yeah.
Blech.
But yeah, if you ever want to know anything, I mean, just do a quick Google search and you'll find lots of non-celebrity stories on stalking. So even though lots of celebrities have been stalked, and those are horrifying enough. But anyway, so what scariest shit ever story have you brought us?
Well, guys, I know it's been a minute since we've been here, but I decided, the thing that is the scariest shit, like ever that is happening in the now, in the right now, is Project 2025.
Oh God. Oh my God, yes.
And like,
oh sweet Jesus. I swear to you, if Orange Voldemort gets voted back in, I need to move to another country. I can't with this bullshit.
But so,
like, I saw it just once. Somebody mentioned it one time and I Googled it and I was like, what?
It's so terrifying.
And I think we were on the way to Daytona. I was on the way to Daytona with Mom and Dad and I started reading it and they're like, that's not real. And I'm like, oh, but it is. Like, this is real.
This is
for real. And then it was like maybe 2 weeks later, it exploded and it was everywhere, because then like John Oliver was talking about it and it was on all the socials. And I follow like Dara Star Tucker on Instagram. I love her. She's one of my favorites. She was talking about it. I'm like, okay, thank God. Thank God people are talking about this now. And now Orange Voldemort's like trying to like distance himself from it.
Yeah.
Which he's not doing a very good job, but still. Because apparently he was seen with the leader of it, but whatever. Screw that guy.
There's a lot of ex-Trump people that like, worked for him that are part of it. Like, so guys, today we're going to talk about the thing that could destroy the world as we know it, because scariest shit ever.
Right.
So I got my information from project2025.org, their website. I just want to emphasize, I went there. I read their stuff. I did not read the 900-page document itself because it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I did go through and read some things. Also, of course...
Did you, vomit in your mouth a little bit as you were doing it?
I had some panic attacks as this was going on.
I mean, that's fair.
It was a whole experience that I'm like... I almost, signed up to see what would happen, but I didn't think I could handle getting that kind of garbage in my email. So I was like...
No, don't do that.
I'm going to have to,
You almost have to do it with, a fake email so it would come to, your real email.
I'll get to it in a minute, but there is a place where you can apply to be part of something I'll talk about. And I was like, bitch, yeah, let's see what this is. And it was they wanted your phone number so they could send a verification code. I'm like, fuck that. You're not getting my phone number.
No.
And that is how they kept me out. Because it's
no.
I need a burner phone to do this shit. Cause
right.
You can't have my phone number. I already get enough of garbage Republican text to vote for. I'm like, who do you think you're texting?
I know, right? I'm like,
I promise this is the wrong number.
You have the wrong phone number.
Absolutely.
Tell you down.
Anyway, so I got my information from their website. I did watch the John Oliver episode as well as the BBC and CBS News. So, lots of things. So for those of you who don't know,
is this the first episode where neither one of us have used Wikipedia?
Oh my God, neither of us use Wikipedia.
No.
That's wild.
Oh my God, 122 episodes and we finally
managed to
we finally have not used Wikipedia.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
That is hilarious because I did not look at the Wikipedia page.
I didn't either.
Okay. So if you don't know what Project 2025 is, one, congratulations, because Claire said, it exploded everywhere. But maybe you didn't want to know because it's... Ugh.
Because it's gross.
And it does sound like a thing that can't possibly be real. But it is. It is, in fact, a 900-page document that was written by a conservative think tank to be basically a how-to guide for the next conservative president. So putting it into our current perspective is Project 2025, because that's when the next president will take office. Right. It's in January of 2025. And so it is basically a roadmap for Trump to just fuck shit up even more than he has. And although he's tried to distance himself from it, and I think he honestly doesn't agree with all of the stuff in it, because it is not him having written this. But I also know that he doesn't actually want to do anything, so he'll probably put a lot of this shit in play because it works for him. And because other people will do it and he won't have to. And he just wants to go golfing, let's be real. So
sounds like some other people I know.
So I feel like it's I feel like it's very important that I explain Project 2025 to you as they describe themselves, because I don't want to do the whole thing. This is bad, 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 bad. I want you to hear what they are saying about their own thing.
You're like, these are their words.
These are their words. Okay. So Project 2025 is a historic movement brought together by over 100 respected organizations from across the conservative movement to take down the deep state, which as we know is whatever, and return the government to its people. Its mandate for leadership, The Conservative Promise, published in April 2023, is a product of more than 400 scholars and policy experts from around the country. The book offers a menu of policy suggestions to meet our country's deepest challenges and put America back on track, including secure the border, finish building the wall, and deport illegal aliens. De-weaponize the federal government by increasing accountability and oversight of the FBI and DOJ. Unleash American energy production to reduce energy prices. Cut the growth of government spending to reduce inflation. Make federal bureaucrats more accountable to the democratically elected president and Congress. Improve education by moving control and funding of education from DC bureaucrats directly to parents and state and local governments. Now, all of that sounds like, okay, fine. Like, that's not really telling me a whole lot, but I see your overarching things. But the last point that they put, this is on their homepage. The last point that they have decided is one of the country's deepest challenges to put America back on track is ban biological males from competing in women's sports. I'm sorry. That made the front page? Like, I mean, I get it. It's got to be there.
Because that's such an issue. I guarantee you the percentage of men competing in women's sports is not high at all.
No. But I'm like, so that's like day one, super important issue, front page of our thing. We're going to write that in there. So it is not enough for conservatives to win elections. If we are going to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, we need both a governing agenda and the right people in place, ready to carry this agenda out on day one of the next conservative administration. Now, again, those are their words, and that's where we're starting. So that you hear that is what they're saying, and now we're going to go look at the stuff that they're actually talking about. So they claim that their goal of this project is to, when Trump got into office last time, no one expected him to win. Like, for real. They had no idea how to staff things. Like, had no concept that, like, you have to bring in your own staff. Like, the White House staff don't just work for you. There are some positions maybe that do stay, but generally speaking, you bring in all of your own. Like, you have someone who picks and vets and does all of that. And so it took them a long time to figure out anything. So it took them longer to start fucking everything up than it will if he gets in this time. Because this particular project has the goal of having people already ready and in place on day one to follow what they call their 180-day playbook. So their 4 main policy aims, again, according to them, is to restore the family as the centerpiece of American life, dismantle the administrative state, defend the nation's sovereignty and borders, and secure God-given individual rights to live freely. Now, it's important to know that they talk about their over 100 partners. Mm-hmm. And, like, I went through and looked at some of them. Obviously, the Heritage Foundation, that's kind of the big one that everyone's connecting to this project. But the NRA, which, garbage.
Shock. Yeah.
Liberty University, garbage. These are some of my favorites. The Mississippi Center for Public Policy and the Alabama Policy Institute. You know, 2 of the shittiest places that you can live that don't give a shit about their people and let them
I started to say,
die in poverty.
They always come in last in everything.
Who won't even take federal free money from the government because they don't want to have to, like, do anything to help people. So they won't even take the money. So they just like to fuck their people over. So I'm so glad that they've given their big thumbs up on this. Ugh. But also, this one hits close to our childhood, Claire. The Dr. James Dobson Family Institute.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. And of course, Moms for Liberty, because they're super great too. So, like,
fuck them too.
Guys, I mean, the vast majority of the 100 whatever, I mean, I've not heard of most of them, but they all have, like, America in the name and in ways that make you go,
they do. Of course they do. Yeah.
So, like, red flags.
No.
And I will say that on their website, as if this will surprise nobody, but there is, like, a short 1.5-minute YouTube video that's trying to get people to join their cause and apply to what they call their academy so that they can take online courses and be ready to take on these positions throughout the federal government. To, quote unquote, preserve the ideas of the founding fathers. I'm like, you don't know what they wanted, you're idiots, but whatever. But in this video, there's like 12 to 15 different people that are shown. Some of them talk to you. Some of them are just kind of like placed and whatever. Guess how many of them are white?
All of them.
Correct.
Shock.
And not like, I wonder if they might be, you know, have some other heritage. No, they are like white, super white. I'm like, okay.
Like white.
No one thought, hey, let's find a couple of token people of color to throw in here. Like,
oh no, because they are very anti-DEI.
They absolutely are. Okay. So let's talk into their main platforms here. So they want to secure the border. So they really want to focus on enforcing immigration laws. They want to build the wall on the southern border. They want to more efficiently identify and reject fraudulent asylum claims. I didn't realize you could fraudulently claim asylum, but whatever. They want to restore the Remain in Mexico policy for the people that are awaiting asylum claims. Like, I know you want to come in, but you gotta stay there. And they want to arrest, detain, and remove immigration violators anywhere in the United States. Now, what does this mean? Because, like, these are the things that they're like, this is what we want. But what does it really mean?
Right.
When you go deep diving into all of their literature. So what they want to do is they want to dismantle the Department of Homeland Security. And they want to, like, put it in other agencies. So they want to focus a lot on immigration enforcement units, creating a larger, more powerful border policing operation. And I'm like, you know, Homeland Security deals with threats and stuff too, right?
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
really more about
like, if you're wanting to
terrorism.
Dismantle Homeland Security, I feel like you would be opening us up to some big, like, terrorist threats. I mean, if that, like, you're all are, like, can't see the forest for the trees kind of thing right now.
And
like,
yeah.
Like, you all are like, this is our main problem. But I'm like,
no.
But just because you see this is a problem doesn't mean that
other things
there aren't these problems over here, and that they don't matter either. You know, I just don't see how. And I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to that kind of stuff.
No, right? I'm over here like, but guys, there's so much more to it than that.
Right. Absolutely.
So let's see. They want to take all of the immigration related stuff from Homeland, because they have some, obviously, from Homeland Security, as well as from Justice and Health and Human Services, to form a standalone cabinet level. Then they have their own cabinet person in office.
Right.
Border and Immigration Agency staffed by more than 100,000 employees just for immigration. And I'm like,
that.
And that's like that's trying to keep people out. Now, what they do want to do.
Excessive.
Oh, it's insane. And that's. So they also want to eliminate the visa categories for crime and human trafficking victims. So you can't get a visa to, you know, escape the human trafficking garbage or whatever's happening. They want to increase the fees that immigrants have to pay to get in and allow, this is how you know it's the Republican Party full of greedy assholes. They want to allow fast track applications for migrants who pay a premium. So it's pay to play. Oh, you can come. Oh, absolutely. You can come immigrate here. You just got to pay for it.
Fuck that.
And I hate that shit. That is disgusting. It's like, God forbid we help out the people who need asylum or are trying to escape really horrible situations and just let rich people get in. God damn it. And this is gross too. They want to, there's currently a rule or a law or something in place that does not allow immigration and customs enforcement to do things at schools, playgrounds, and churches, and they want to take that away so that they can do that. They can go, you know, remove kids from the playground or church.
That is also gross. That is so gross.
So that's what they mean about, you know, securing the border.
But also in a John Oliver episode. I don't think it was that one, but there was another one on immigration specifically. You know how they keep talking about how the people who come across the border are these dangerous criminals.
Right.
How none of them like have done anything. And the only ones who do anything are like the American born ones. And I'm just like, y'all are dumb. Y'all are dumb. I don't get it. I don't get these people because it's like you can throw like actual like written down facts in their face all day long and they will still fight you over stuff that's like.
And like without these immigrants coming in and doing our farming and our construction and
right,
like, who's going to do it? Because we obviously aren't.
Right.
Okay.
I know.
So on to the next one. Unleashing American energy. So they...
Yeah, because we see how well Texas is doing that.
Yeah. So they want to secure abundant access to energy for the American people, including low-cost gasoline, by ensuring access to abundant, reliable, and affordable energy, removing efforts to push sustainable development schemes connected to food production. God forbid we have sustainable development connected to food, but whatever. Stopping collaboration with and funding of progressive foundations, corporations, international institutes, and NGOs that advocate for climate fanaticism. Slow blink.
I know, right? It's like...
Ending the, specifically, Biden administration's war on fossil fuels in the developing world and supporting the responsible management of oil and gas reserves as the quickest way to end wrenching poverty and the need for open-ended foreign aid. Also ensuring that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission facilitates, rather than hampers, private sector nuclear energy innovation and deployment. Because I sure do want to let the private sector have nuclear energy without a lot of oversight. So cool. That sounds like a really excellent choice.
Right.
So what does this really mean? I mean, that all sounds terrifying. Those are their words. That's what they want. So what does that mean? So they want to slash federal money for research and investment into renewable energy. And stop what they call the war on oil and natural gas. Because God fucking forbid that we continue to make better and renewable and less damaging sources of energy. God forbid we have progress.
I know, and it also sounds to me like they don't give a shit about the climate.
Oh, no, because that's not real. You know that. Because they also want to replace carbon reduction goals that are currently in place and instead increase energy production and energy security so that we can just kill the earth faster.
And I'm just like, you're reading that, and to me, this sounds like a roadmap to one of those dystopian books that you and I have read, is what this sounds like to me, where they've had some kind of like nuclear war. This is like watching Fallout, the TV show.
It really
is. This is what this roadmap to. It's like leading to Fallout, or like one of these dystopian books that they've written for young adults, where they've had some kind of world war, and we're gonna wind up in fucking Hunger Games. That's really what this is. I mean, and then at the end of it, then we're all gonna wind up in Handmaid's Tale. I mean, it's like taking all your awful dystopian novels and winding them into one, to where by the end of it, women don't have rights at all.
No, not at all.
That's what this is. That is really what this is.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. De-weaponize the federal government and dismantle the deep state.
What does that even mean?
What does I don't know. It's like there's some...
the deep state?
The
like,
fact that they have a quote-unquote think tank basically perpetuating the concept of a deep-level government conspiracy is insane. Like, oh my God. Okay. So, again, they want to, quote unquote.
Oh, here we go. Wait.
Deep state? Sure.
A deep state is a type of government made of potentially secret and unauthorized networks of power operating independently of a state's political leadership in pursuit of their own agenda and goals. In popular usage, the term carries overwhelmingly negative connotations and is often associated with conspiracy theories.
Like I said. Now, if you are going to talk about some organization creating a deep state, would it not be the one that is basically training a bunch of people to dismantle things from day one? Isn't that really a deep state? But whatever.
I mean, seriously.
So they want to, quote unquote, restore self-governance to the American people, and they want to do it by firing supposedly unfireable federal bureaucrats, closing wasteful and corrupt bureaus and offices, eliminating woke propaganda at every level of the government. Again, these are their words.
Right.
Restoring the American people's constitutional authority over the administrative state, and returning governing power to the Congress and the president instead of unelected bureaucrats. Now, what does this mean? So they want all of federal bureaucracy, all of the government, including independent agencies like the Department of Justice, to be placed under direct presidential control, which is it's an idea known as unitary executive theory that essentially streamlines the decision-making process that allows the president to directly implement policies in a lot of areas, which sounds like monarchy to me.
Right.
And not president.
There is so much that they're wanting to do with this that would be giving the president and that's what they want, essentially, is to give the president too much power and to get rid of the checks and balances between the three branches of government is really what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
To where the president could have more power than the other two branches. And that to me is also terrifying.
Well, but it's even more than that. Like, it's more than having more power. It's having all of the power.
Right.
And I can promise you the founding fathers are rolling over in their graves at this point.
Right.
So part of this would eliminate job protections for thousands of government employees. So currently, in the way the government works, there are positions that are appointed positions, but there are way more positions that have nothing to do with politics. And so they're just government employees. You have to have certain certifications, certain knowledge, certain abilities, and like any job.
Right.
And they want to pretty much get rid of that so they can put anybody they want in positions to do things however they want. So that means that people suddenly, their politics matter in order for them to keep their federal government job. And it shouldn't.
Right.
No. But also, they claim that the FBI is a bloated, arrogant, increasingly lawless organization. And basically they want to just dismantle it and get rid of it, along with several other federal agencies.
Part of me is like,
and I'm like, why are you getting, like, you can't just get rid of something. Like, that's not how, there's too many things that they do and take care of that you don't even know about.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to improve education, Claire.
No, they're not.
They're gonna do it.
No, they're not.
They're gonna strengthen our education system by expanding school choice so all children have the option of a great education regardless of zip code.
Lies.
They're gonna promote parents' rights in public education so that American schools serve parents. Of course, they're going to remove critical race theory and gender ideology curricula in every public school in the country. And they're going to return education control to state and local governments. So, what? They're actually going to eliminate the Department of Education so that there will be no federal guidance governance. Mm-hmm. So that, and I mean, think about it, guys. Maybe your kids go to school in Kentucky, and that state has certain things that they determine are correct. But your kid is so excited. They've always had a dream college. They want to go to that college, but they can't because their educational requirements were garbage. Like the college didn't like, that's not a real school. You didn't actually learn anything. All you learned is that, you know, Jesus did something and Noah built an ark. Right. So like useless. And maybe you're like, oh, well, you know, people don't need to go to college, but it's really hard to get a job if you're going in with a diploma that's basically saying you don't know how to do anything because there are no requirements that meet basic abilities to be useful. The other thing that I want to do, eliminate Head Start, which is, for most of you who don't know, because if you're like us, you don't have kids. Right. But it is a federal program that is funded to help low-income children and families prepare for school and life. It's to help kids before they start school have a better chance at being successful if they're coming from situations where maybe they don't have a lot of like one-on-one time with mom and dad. They aren't able to sit down and read with their kids or spend a lot of time practicing things. Mm-hmm. Like it's there to help them be more successful. But we're going to get rid of that, God forbid. So those are kind of like their big pillars. But what else? What else is in this terrifying 900-page document? Well, they want to get rid of the abortion pill mifepristone. And they want to replace the Reproductive Healthcare Task Force with a pro-life task force. God. Because again, they just want women to have babies and be forced to have babies and not have a choice. There's nothing in here that makes men have to be responsible, that makes men have to pay child support, that makes men have to do anything, be responsible in any way, shape, or form, have to help deal with the reality that, you know, this person may not be able to work while they're pregnant, you know? Like, right. Nothing is built in. It's just, well, you have to have a baby. Ugh. It also says that the Department of Health and Human Services should, quote, maintain a biblically based, social science reinforced definition of marriage and family. And in a section that's called the Family Agenda, it says that the Health and Human Services chief should proudly state that men and women are biological realities and that married men and women are the ideal natural family structure because all children have a right to be raised by the men and women who conceived them.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, the fuck? The fuck? They also are calling for a federal ban on pornography.
Shock.
And to go a step beyond that
which is funny to me because I guarantee you
they're the ones that are watching it the most. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
They are the ones who are frequenting Pornhub the most.
They also want the telecom companies that allow access to be shut down. And they want anyone who is part of the creation and distribution of pornography to be imprisoned, to go to jail for that. Shit. They want to eliminate several terms from all laws and all federal regulations, including sexual orientation, gender equality, abortion, and reproductive rights. Just gone. That means you don't have them anymore. If they're not coded into things, into laws and regulations, you don't have them anymore. Do you understand? That's what that means. Obviously, in diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and crack down on this woke ideology, they want to go back.
They love that word.
I know,
they love that word. And it's like, y'all,
what's wrong with woke? Have you not seen the goddamn Matrix? Being woke is important.
Right.
And they want to reinstate the ban on transgender people serving in the army. And I'm here to be like, if someone wants to willingly serve in our military in any way, shape, or form,
who gives a shit?
Let them. Like, if they can.
Who cares?
If they can, like, find a way, because I certainly don't want to. So, like, yeesh.
Yeah, I mean, if they are able-bodied and they want to, like, if they meet all the criteria and they want to, who cares? Who gives a shit? And they're good at it? Who gives a shit?
They also want to.
This one I don't understand.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Then this one is like, what the fuck is this about? Like, they want to eliminate and reform the dietary guidelines that were published by the Department of Agriculture 40 years ago. And I'm like, I mean, fine, most of those are garbage, but like, not because they're garbage, but because they have been infiltrated, quotes, by issues like climate change and sustainability.
What?
I know. One, I'm like, what are you talking about? But two, what the fuck? Yeah.
I mean,
but no. The dumbest, most, like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, you're wrong, this is gross, this is bad. But like, I understand your ideology, I guess, and why you're saying this. You're wrong and stupid and horrible, but like, I get it. But then there's things like, they want to get rid of NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Oh my God. Yeah, this one is
which includes the National Weather Service and the National Marine Fisheries Service, because they claim that NOAA forms a colossal operation that has become one of the main drivers of the climate change alarm industry, and as such is harmful to future U.S. prosperity. Because God forbid that we know hurricanes are fucking coming, all right? Like, what in the actual hell? You don't get to know your weather, because the reason we all have weather is because of the government.
The National Weather Service.
Yes.
I mean, because anytime they have an alarm come on the radio, it's the National Weather Service. But like,
all of your news people, all of those apps that you have, weather, they're all getting it from there. So if that's gone, nobody has it. Nobody.
Because let me tell you, the amount of like possible tornadoes that come through here where I live is a lot. So much so that they've talked about adding like this part of Kentucky to Tornado Alley. Yeah. But anyway, wouldn't have any of that. Fuck you guys. Yeah. Oh my God. I want to get rid of the National Weather Service. They're not on anybody's side.
No.
They're just reporting the fucking weather.
But the fact is,
oh my gosh,
they're reporting weather and all the changes that's happening, and that is just another reminder that climate change is happening, and they just don't want that to be real. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it is. Ugh. So
they can eat all the dicks. That's all I gotta say.
To kind of wrap this up, just so that you know, the Project 2025 is led by two former Trump administrative officials, Paul Dans, who was the chief of staff for the Office of Personnel Management, and Spencer I swear it's Cretin. Cretien. Cretin. I'm calling him Cretin, who was the former special assistant to Trump.
Didn't one of them like resign recently?
Paul Dans was resigning at the end of July, August or something.
Okay.
One of the architects of this plan is Russell Vort, who is a self-proclaimed Christian nationalist.
Gag.
Who said things like, the Department of Education is the Department of Critical Race Theory, and it's funding a cultural revolution. I'm like, I feel like you don't understand how hard it is to get kids to do anything, by the way, but whatever.
Right.
And this all comes from the Mandate for Leadership 2025, The Conservative Promise, a book that was written that builds upon the Mandate for Leadership, which was first published in January of 1981 and was served as a roadmap to Ronald Reagan's administration. And he's the reason everything is fucking messed up to begin with. So guys, it goes back to Reagan always because he's a piece of shit.
Yes.
Hate him. He's the reason we're in the shithole we're in. And this fucking group of people, this concept, this plan, started there. So we're going to do more of it? Like, what the hell, guys? What the hell? Because before Reagan and all the dismantling of all this garbage, people could have one income, raise a family, pay for college, So, like, hello? Anyone?
Buy a house.
So, yes, buy a house, afford food. So, like, fuck this shit. Fuck Reagan. All of it. So,
wasn't he the one who came up with the whole trickle down economics or whatever?
Which is bullshit because all the billionaires just want more billions. They don't want to share. They don't.
Yeah.
And that's who funds this shit are rich, greedy assholes who don't want anyone else to have any money.
Lies. It's all lies.
So.
They don't care about you.
They don't care about you. And what is this, again, scariest shit ever. One of the things about this that is most terrifying is that they are creating a database, like sort of a LinkedIn for conservative, racist, misogynist assholes.
God.
To be put not only in the White House on day one of the next administration, but throughout the entire federal government.
God.
That's a real deep state. I'm just saying.
Oh, they can do that. But the Southern Baptist Convention can't make a database of all the people who've molested children?
No.
Claire, oh my God.
No. Oh my God, no. Like, no.
Oh my God. Like, that's too hard.
But that is my story on Project 2025. Literally the scariest shit ever. Because, like, it's gonna fuck up everything. Everyone, all sorts of parts of your life you didn't even know could get fucked up. So
I swear to you, I just want to, like, if it happens, I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. We need to move somewhere.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Claire.
Yeah.
On that lovely note.
Yeah.
What are you judging this week?
Oh my God, we've not been here in so long. I have so many things.
But you can only choose like one or two.
I know. First off, real quick, anybody who was like raging about the fucking Olympics, you all can eat a bag of dicks.
I support that.
The people, just real fast, the people who thought they're making fun of the fucking Last Supper, y'all can eat a bag of dicks. Anybody who thought that boxer was a man, you all can eat a bag of dicks. Because you're not here for that either, because I burned some bridges on that one on Facebook because I got so tired. I'm like, they came out and they were like, it was some right-wing rag online that just fucking lied and said she was a man.
Yep.
That started it. And then you're telling people she's not a fucking man, and they're just still just going on and on and on about how she's a man boxing. And I'm like, no, she's not. Okay, anyway, that's all on that. Y'all, anybody who still believes that bullshit, y'all can eat dicks. That's all I can say. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, I'm here in case you all were worried. The patriarchy is alive and well, and they can eat a bag of dicks too.
Oh Lord.
No, God. So at work, I was checking out a customer. This is at my main job where I deal with mostly men. Meh. Anyway, I was checking out a customer. He's picking up a decal and he's paying for it. And my boss comes out of his office and he's standing behind me and I'm conversing with the customer. And then he stops talking to me and he looks at my boss who's standing behind me. And he goes, so how do you install this decal? Like, I'm not fucking standing there. Okay. My boss has owned this company for like 2 fucking years, if even that.
Has he ever installed a decal?
Like twice, maybe. If even that. And I just like stopped what I was doing. I just stared. And so then my boss was like, he goes, well, I'm not really the one you need to talk to. You need to talk to her, talking about me. Still not looking at me. He goes, oh, well, he goes, you just look like the guy that I would need to talk to about installing decals. It ate all over me.
As it should.
I told Mom, I said, I really wanted to say, I didn't say it. In my brain, I wanted to look at him and go, oh, I'm sorry. That me over here with my lowly vagina, I must not be able to use a tape measure or be able to tape anything. I must not be able to do anything but take your payment and like do my fucking nails. So, because I don't have a dick between my legs. Like, I just like, oh my God, it made me so mad. So mad. I should be used to this by now.
No.
I should be fucking used to this by now.
No.
But it just, because it's like, I have been doing this for like 17 goddamn years. I told Natalie when she got back from lunch, I said, if laying vinyl was an Olympic sport, I would be the fucking Simone Biles.
It's true.
I'm not even kidding. And you know, I don't like to toot my horn. I'm not that person. I don't toot my horn all that much. But I'm not kidding. When it comes to this, and I don't even know that I really like fucking doing it. I'm just fucking good at it.
Yeah.
And it's like when everybody fucking messes up, I'm the one they call. Claire, I got a wrinkle. Can you come fix it? Claire in a vine. Can you come get it? I'm the one who fucking fixes it. I'm the one who makes it look good, like it wasn't even fucking ruined in the first place. Oh, it just made me so mad. Made me so mad. And so then my boss is like trying to explain to him like how to do it, because I'm like, I'm gonna sit there and watch you flounder, motherfucker.
It's like, Google it.
Because I'm also like mad at him for other things too. Right, so it's like, anyway, so I'm just like, just sit there and watch you drown. Since, you know, he's the one who looks like he would be the one to install.
Like, you go ahead and take his advice. I'm sure. I
know in my head, I'm like, I hope you fucking mess that up. And you have to come back and get a new one, and we can charge you full price again, you asshole. Like, I was just so mad about it. Like, made me so angry. I just got irritated by it.
I mean, totally fair. Like, that is just like it. Like if he had just been like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then looked at you, he's like, "Could you walk me through it?" You would have been like, "Yeah, fine, okay, whatever, this is fine." Right. But no, he had to double down on it. Well, I thought you looked like the guy who would know how to do this.
Right.
It's like,
and then on top of that, I don't know how I wound up with this, but there's one of the banks that's our customer. They're building a new branch in Shepherdsville, and they have this atrium that they want vinyl on the wall, and so it's like the wall and then the glass, and then they're going to put lights down here at the bottom to shine up on this wall vinyl that they're putting over. And so he wanted a quote on it. So all this guy, he didn't even send me like all the pertinent info. Number one, basically all I got was, oh, this is going on the inside. There's going to be glass. Here's the size of the wall. That's all I got. And I'm like, okay, well, the size of the wall is 12 feet wide, but 24 feet tall.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, I was like, so we're talking about like how we do it. And I'm like, well, we'd have to do it like a scissor lift. You can't like, because Natalie, we're sitting there talking and she's like, can't do that up a ladder. I'm like, I'm not shimmying my ass 24 feet up a ladder.
Nope.
And she's like, me neither. And I'm like, that's not safe. You can't do that. You know, I'm like, do they even make ladders that tall? And it was like, not like the A-frame kind, like, you know, no. So we were like talking about getting a lift. And so it was like, how much room is there in? But so he didn't even tell me how much room. So he was like, oh, it's like 3 feet. So I was like, oh my God, 3 feet. Do they even make lifts that wide? Like that skinny? Like, So I had to ask my old boss, because he still kind of quotes things, right? Because of his electrical license. We still use him for his electrical license to do stuff. And so I was like, hey, can you take a look at this for me? And he actually has, because he's bidding for all these other signs we're doing at this new branch, bidding stuff. And he's like, oh, I've got the floor plan. I can look at this. And so he sends it back to me, and he's like, oh, they didn't even tell you about this door either. So there's like this door that you have to go through and then make a turn, like a sharp turn. It's not even 3 feet. It's only 30 inches. The space. The door is 30 inches. The space is 30 inches. I'm like, you motherfucker. Leave it to a man. Oh, it's 3 feet. No, sir. That's 6 inches short.
Yeah.
Leave it to a man to cut out 6 inches. Oh, like a guy like, oh, I'm 6 feet. No, sir, you were not. You were 5'10". You were, shut the fuck up. You know, it's just like, size matters. Inches matter in this fucking job. Like, oh my God. I'm going to come back and tell him like, and so my whole boss, he's like, the only way that we can install this is if we do it before they put the window in, before they frame it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, like, get a lift and do it that way. He said, you can't use a ladder. He's like, OSHA will not allow it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, there's not a lift you can get in there. He said, you won't make that turn with the door. He said, you're going to have to do it before they put the window in. So I emailed the guy back. And then he comes back and me, you're going to love this. He's like, oh, well, I've got a Teams call I can put you in on. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting on your fucking Teams call with your contractors. Mm-mm. So you all can sit there and mansplain a bunch of shit to me that you all think you know, but you don't. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I'm not doing this. And then he has the audacity to go, well, I got on Sunbelt Rentals and I found a lift that's 29 inches wide. That's because I did say, I was like, it's not 3 feet, it's 30 inches. And I sent the thing that my other boss sent me to show him the schematic. Like, you were wrong. It's not 3 feet. Mm-hmm. You lied to me, you idiot. Like, this is your fucking project. You should know how much fucking space is in there. You know, you didn't even send me the pertinent information.
Yeah.
You know, but he's like, oh, I found a lift that's 29 inches wide. And it's like, you know, like, but it's like 40 something inches long. It's not going to make the turn in that door that you also neglected to tell me about. God, I'm so tired of dealing with fucking ignorant men in this job. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm talking to my boss, my ex-boss about it on the phone. And he said, well, he goes, you can tell that an engineer or a contractor came up with this fucking idea. Because he said, they're like, oh, this is going to look good. He said, but nobody thought to like,
how are we going to get it in here? How are we going to get it like, up there?
Yeah, how are we going to get this done? And I said, well, they really want it. And I knew he was going to say this because this is one of his things that he says all the time. He's like, you can want one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up first. And I said, I knew you were going to say that. Mm-hmm. And I said, I really want to say it to that guy. I really do. Because he's like, well, I'll just let you know what the Teams call says. And I'm like, you do that. But then I'm also going to tell you, but I don't care what they say. We're not gonna. Yeah. We're not going to do this unless you let us do it before you frame it. Yeah. And if you don't, then you can find somebody else. Like, because Eugene was telling me, he said, you can't. He said, if you've got a ladder that leans up against the wall, you have to sit it back a fourth of the way the height that you're going up. So we would have to sit it back at least 6 feet from the wall to let it lean if we were doing it that way, which we're not. Right. But he said, you can't. He said, you got 30 inches. He said, it would just fall back on itself. He said, there's no way. He's like, OSHA would not allow that. He said, it would have to be a lift. And he said, and when I told him what the guy said about the 29 inches, he said, well, there's probably going to be baseboards at the bottom. He said, that's not going to work. He said, it won't make the turn. And he said, the 29 inches is not gonna. He said, there's probably going to be baseboards and shit at the bottom. He said, it's probably still going to scuff the walls. He said, you'd probably break the glass. He's like, this guy's stupid. It's just like, you know, it's just, this week has been so incredibly frustrating. Like, I just want to like beat my head against my computer screen until it breaks, until I don't have to like see these fucking emails anymore. That's what I want to do. Anyway, those are my judges. That and like,
those are excellent.
That and like everything else that like, you know, JD Vance, he can eat a bag of dicks.
Maybe we should just have a top 10 list of who can eat a bag of dicks.
Yes, because like I said, we've been gone for so long. We've not been able to judge these people. Okay, what's your judge?
Well, my judge is also someone who can eat a bag of dicks. So,
yes.
Cool.
Yes, here's to people eating bags of dicks. Yes.
So, I mean, I'm a millennial. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I am still on Facebook. It's fine. But I still have this hate in my heart from when Facebook opened up to the general public. Because it just let anybody on. And I was like, oh, this used to be such a safe place. And now it's terrible.
Because it was only for college kids.
I was like, no, it's terrible. And I hate everything. But so a high school teacher that I had who taught AP European history when I was in high school is on Facebook. And I am friends with him. I will not say his name because I'm not that person.
Right.
But on August 6th, he posted something like America 1, Japan 0. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? And I looked at Spencer and I was like, what? Oh, August 6th, 1945. America 1, Japan 0. And I was like, Spencer, is this what I think it is? This is when we dropped a fucking bomb on a city.
And I think I know who you're talking about because I think I'm friends with him too.
I'm sure you are. And I was just like, that's gross. And then he had like a few comments and people were like,
because
America.
I saw somebody post that same thing and I was like, what the fuck is that?
And so, and then like 3 days later on the 9th, he did it again. America 2, Japan 0. And I'm like,
dirty.
We bombed cities filled with women,
people,
and children because most of the men were off fighting somewhere.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with anything.
And we destroyed them and gave them, anyone who survived, radiation burns. Like, I mean, it was horrific. And like, I'm not going to get into whether that was the right move, the wrong move. 1945, I do not know. I don't know. I wasn't there. Yes, the war ended. Maybe that ended up saving countless lives. I don't know. None of that matters. Because honestly, it's like, we don't celebrate that. We don't act like we're some big bad people for murdering thousands of innocent people who did not have a choice in being in a war or not. Right. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. And I did not comment because I know it's not going to do me any good. But like, it just was so disgusting and gross. And I was like, it's not the first time he has said something that made me go, I don't think we could talk. Like, I really liked him as a teacher, but now I'm like, you're not a good human. You're not a good human. Right. But to see other people also comment and be in support, like it, what? He's like, my grandpa fought and blah blah blah. I was like, and your grandfather probably thought this was shitty. Like, probably felt like, wow, we just murdered a whole bunch of people, because like, that's what happened. And again, I'm not saying it was the right choice, the wrong choice. I was not obviously part of that conversation. It's 1945, but like, right, what the fuck is wrong with you to be like, woo, America? Right. Lord. Ugh. But that's my judge, because it just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I was very bitter about it. And I was like, why are people assholes? Right. About things that none of these people were alive for, by the way. None of the people involved were alive when this happened. None of them were part of it. None of them lived through the war.
Right. It's not like these people were, yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell?
I know, and you don't see people like hosting like celebrations of like Vietnam and bullshit. And we still have people who are alive from that. It's like, yeah.
Like, they should just be days of like remembrance of like, this is a thing that happened. Decisions were made. Again, right, wrong, good, bad. Right. But we realized that a lot of people died on this day, and maybe it served the greater good, maybe it didn't. But those people didn't really deserve this either. Right. So, ugh, gross, hate. Be better. Right. I'm 100% sure he's voting for Trump because he's an idiot.
I'd say so.
All right. On that note,
I'd say so.
It must be time for tarot time with April. A spooky. All right, what shall we ask the cards, Claire?
I don't
know. How about, since we took a break, what does the rest of this year hold for us, Claire?
Yeah. It is about half over, so
it's true. We're getting there. School is starting back for people. I've moved into a new place. This is my new setup. We'll just call that. That sounds good. Okay. Are we ready for it?
Yep.
We have the Page of Coins. The moon.
The moon.
And the 10 of coins, also known as pentacles. Pentacles. Claire's like, let me write this down so I know for the future. All right.
I was flipping the page for when we spin the wheel so I can write the topic down, because half the time I forget to write it down.
Same.
And then I'm like, what was it?
Like,
I don't know.
All right. The Page of Pentacles is thoughtful and introspective and is learning how to be himself. He chooses his friends wisely and finds excellent counsel. He's grounded and growing up well. He's just a great goofy guy. Physical and takes good care of himself. The energy is light, honest, and really genuine. Romantic, creative, playful, and adorable. So that sounds nice. Sounds like we're going to have a good time. Thoughtful and introspective. We're going to be ourselves. We're going to have friends. Lots of good, happy energy. But then the moon comes in. The moon. The moon. Let's see. This card is about intuition. It's the feeling you get before you get into an accident. Before natural disasters. Animals often behave erratically. That's this card. It's the same primal thing we share with the dog and the wolf. Something is coming and it isn't good. Anxiety, nervousness, looming towers, rough waters. Okay, when it comes up in a reading, one of the things I talk about is sometimes we're scared for a reason. Sometimes there's someone coming down the dark road with bad intentions. Noted. So, cool. Not knowing, not being sure, not having answers, not being able to control a single goddamn thing. So that sounds ominous. Yay! I can't wait for that to happen. Wait. Okay. But then we're going to end with the 10 of Pentacles, and it's all about sharing your wealth, emotional and spiritual wealth, and abundance, and sharing. It's family legacy. Let's see. It's not about separating yourselves from other people. It's about being among people without basing your emotional health or well-being on them. So we're going to be happy. Something looms and we're nervous about it, but it's going to be fine and we're going to share our wealth. How about that, Claire? Good enough. All right. What is our topic for next week? What do you think? Claire's thinking thoughts. Here goes nothing. It's gonna be... Unsolved Mysteries. Fortuitous timing as the new season has been released on Netflix.
Oh.
So far I've only watched the first one, which, by the way, is Jack the Ripper. Claire did a magnificent episode on that recently, so look at you foreseeing Unsolved Mysteries, Jack the Ripper.
That's right.
All right, so be sure to join us next time as we talk Unsolved Mysteries. But until then, you can find us in all the things and at all the places at
Brunch and Judge.
Please follow, like, comment, subscribe, and you can send us more topics for our wheel or any stories you'd like for us to cover to us at
brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
So until next time, keep on brunching
and keep on judging.
Bye.